Yo, Frankie Russo live. YouTube 825. Getting ready for DT tonight. DT, baby. All day, every day. Love Donald Trump. Yo, so, contemplating whether to do this pre-show. I got a few things we could highlight and then go listen to the president's address and then come back and scope live on Twitter. Scope live Frankie Russo 1. So I'm thinking about doing that and or going live on Scope at 9 o'clock. So we'll see. I'll decide what I'm gonna do. But I found something pretty interesting. Well, I found a few things. This was on Dinesh D'Souza. He blogged this on Twitter on my brother from another mother, Cliff High. He's the web bot. Oh man, what just happened? I'm hanging out. Russo's hanging out. So we're back over here. So, like I was saying, my brother from another mother's Twitter account, Cliff High, he's the web bot that predicted. He's a predictive linguistic data scientist, and he takes these aggregate data sets from the internet, and he predicted the Donald Trump victory, one of the few. So we had this blog. It says it's from Dinesh D'Souza, but does she get to do it because she's black? And it says here, Obama. Well, my G's answer to that, this is my G right here. Cliff High, at Cliff, at CLIF _ high, HIGH. This guy's great. Listen, look what he says. Oh no, because he's transgender. Hey, call Michelle Obama a tranny. There you go, son. There you go for tonight. Cliff High calls Michelle Obama a tranny. Hey, I'm telling you. Look at this one. They're coming out. They're rolling it out. Colder. Obama's getting ready to go live. We're getting ready for these tranny twats. Here's another tranny. These snowflakes. Getting ready for them. Can't wait. Yo, look at this one. DT's doing it. DT's doing it. Trump administration, Congress behind effort to cut USA to the whack job Palestinian Hamas, the Palestinian Authority. Trump is cutting the aid that Obama tried to send before he left, the little tranny. The White House is signaling its support for new congressional effort to cut all U.S. funding to the Palestinian Authority to its continued support of terrorism against Israelis and Americans. Leading lawmakers in the House and Senate gathered on Capitol Hill to introduce legislation that will cut all U.S. funding to the Palestinian Authority government, which has been criticized for providing financial incentives to terrorists to kill Americans and Israeli citizens. The White House signaled its support for legislation and a vast departure from the stealth jihad radicalismist Obama administration. So there you go. DT's already laying the hammer down, and he's only what, 30 days in. Here's another one. I spoke about this on my show numerous times, and I have to bring it up again. I spoke about it last night. There's the article. Iran uses commercial planes to smuggle weapons to terrorists. Adam Credo, Washington Free Beacon. This is not fake news over here. We don't do fake news. Fake news is freaking Washington Post op-ed. Washington Post got some good reporters. They're not Trump. They're not with Trump. But by no means is their editorial board. Same thing with the New York Times. But they got some good reporters. Not all of them are bad. It's just like anything else. The Obama administration's stealth jihad radicalism has given clearance to Western airline manufacturers to sell planes to Iran. At the same time, the Islamic Republic of Iran is using commercial airliners to smuggle weapons and other illicit arms to Hezbollah terrorists in Lebanon, according to new intelligence and congressional communications. This new intelligence, which shows that Iran has been using its commercial airline company to smuggle advanced weaponry to Hezbollah and terrorists operating in Syria, has placed renewed focus on a congressional inquiry that has been stymied by the stealth jihad radicalism, Mr. Obama. Now, Senators David Perdue, U.S. Senator, I think he's the Secretary of Agriculture now with DT, has been pushing the stealth jihad radicalism, Mr. Obama administration officials to explain why they are helping airline manufacturers, Boeing and Airbus, sell planes to Iran, despite evidence that Tehran is using its commercial airline as cover for its continued terrorist operation across the region. There it is, another material support, another more evidence, statistically significant evidence of more support from the stealth jihad radicalismists, the Obama administration. Now, here's the letter from Perdue to the Office of Terrorism and Financial Intelligence. Here's the letter. I'm just going to read a sentence or two just to give you an idea. Okay, so in the letter, he's addressing the Office of Terrorism and Financial Intelligence in the U.S. Treasury Department. And he said, according to United States Senator Perdue at the time, he claims that Israel's permanent representative to the Security Council, Ambassador Danny Donnan, sent an urgent letter to the Security Council in which he revealed the smuggling route from Iran's Revolutionary Guards to Hezbollah forces on the ground in Lebanon. In his letter, Ambassador Donnan stated that the Iranian Quds Force packs weapons, ammunition, and missile technology to Hezbollah in suitcases and puts them on Mahan air flights. He further specified that these planes fly directly to the airport in Lebanon or Damascus, Syria. From there, the weapons are transferred on the ground to Hezbollah. Furthermore, Ambassador Donnan's letter stated that due to the supply of arms from Iran, Hezbollah now possesses about 120,000 missiles underground in Lebanon, more than 17 times the number of missiles it possessed 10 years ago. 8 of those years were under Obama, more than the European NATO allies have above ground. So there you go. And just to give you a little more data on this biatch, I'm going to give you more data just to give you an idea of why Lebanon and Syria is so. Distance from Israel to Lebanon is 326 kilometers. The air travel distance is equal to 203 miles. The air travel, bird fly, shortest distance between Israel and Lebanon is 203 miles. If you travel with an airplane, which has an average speed of 560 miles per hour, From Israel to Lebanon, it takes 0.36 hours. 0.36 hours. 0.36 hours is less than 30 minutes. So now you know why, because they could drop bombs right on Israel from Lebanon. Syria, it's 354 miles. And if they travel with an airplane, which has an average speed of 560 miles per hour from Israel to Syria, it takes so it's 0.63 hours. So it's more than 30 minutes. So it's between 30 and 60 minutes. Crazy. Now you know why Syria and Lebanon are so strategic for the world's largest state sponsor of terror, the Iranians. Now, I'm going to take this now a little. I'm going to read a few articles. I haven't read this stuff. These other articles I've read by and large, some of them, not all of them. These I haven't read yet. I just took them off the internet. So this is pretty interesting stuff. Now, I don't know where it's going to go, but we're going to circle the wagons on this stuff. Like we did yesterday, I'm circling the wagons. Okay. The oil gas war over Syria. Now, according to Zero Hedge, this guy is unbelievable. Zero Hedge, Tyler Durden. These guys are not, this is not fake news, son. Not fake news. Turkey's news agency is providing remarkably clear and reliable diagrammatic descriptions of the current status of the U.S. and fundamentalist Sunni versus Russia and Shia. Sunni sides in the current oil and gas war in the Middle East for control over territory in Syria, for construction of oil and gas pipelines through Syria, supplying fuel into the world's largest energy market, Europe. Interesting. Russia is now the dominant supplier of both oil and gas, but its ally, Iran, is a Shiite gas powerhouse that wants to share the market there. And Russia has no objection. Interesting. Qatar is a Sunni gas powerhouse and wants to become the main supplier of gas there. Is a Sunni oil powerhouse, which wants to become the major supplier of oil. But Sunni oil and Qatari gas would be piped through secular-controlled Assad's Syria. And this is why the U.S. and its fundamentalist Sunni allies, the Saudis and the Qataris, are using Al-Qaeda and other jihadists to conquer enough of a strip through Syria so that U.S. companies such as Halliburton will be able to safely place pipelines there to be marketed in Europe by U.S. firms such as Exxon. This is crazy, right? Iran also wants to pipeline its gas through Syria, and this is one reason why Iran is defending Syria's government. They send them 3 to 15 billion against the U.S., Saudi, Qatari jihadist invasion. So there's a method behind these stealth jihad radical Islamist leaders of these countries. They utilize these jihadists, these radical Islamists, which is trying to overthrow and place Assad. Here are the most informative of Turkey's news agencies' war maps. The first presents the effort by many countries to eliminate ISIS control over the large. I'm going to read the whole thing. This is really interesting. Over the large. It's the first time I'm reading this. Over the large Iraqi city of Mosul. So I'm going to show you the map just to give you an idea. I'll show it to you again. Okay. This is really interesting. This is the first time I read this article. I pulled it off I get a lot of my stuff off Drudge, you know. Drudge is really good. This is really interesting. Very interesting. Look at that. sensitive operation plan for Mosul. You know, we're going to study it. We're going to see. Not tonight, but over the course of time. The first presents the effort by many countries to eliminate ISIS over the large Iraqi city of Mosul. A remarkably frank remark made in this map is an escape corridor into Syria will be left for ISIS so they can vacate Mosul. An admission that the US, Saudi, Qatari team want the ISIS jihadists who are in Mosul to relocate into Syria to assist the US, Saudi, Qatari effort there to overthrow and replace the Assad government. There's something going on over here, and we're going to figure this thing out. This is getting deeper and deeper. So it's interesting. We're gonna. This is taking it to. We're going to another level with this. So the sensitive operation plan for Mosul. I showed it earlier. I'm gonna show it again. Right. The second is about the Egyptian government's trying to assist the Syrian government's defense against the Saudi, U.S., Qatari invasion of Syria at Aleppo, where Syria's Al-Qaeda branch is trying to retain its current control over part of the large city. The Saudi family are punishing the Egyptian government for that. And here is the map. And just to give you a little something on this. Okay? Now, Saudi, Egypt at odds over Aleppo. Here is Russia's proposed gas line, which would enable Russia to reduce its dependence upon the Ukraine, through which Russia is currently piping its gas into Europe. Obama conquered and took over Ukraine in February 2014 via his coup that overthrew the democratically elected neutralist Ukrainian president. So this is what is in this article, and this is the Saudi Arabia, Egypt at odds over Aleppo. Interesting. Certainly a perspective. Turkish stream gas pipeline project. In addition, there's a following map from. So here's the Turkey streamline gas project. It goes through Russia, through Turkey. There's that one. I'm trying to show something here, and I think I'm gonna anyway see if there's something here. Iran, Iraq, Syria pipeline. Qatar, Turkey pipeline, U.S. backed. Iran, Iraq, Syria, Russia backed. So just as I looking in, you see Iran, Iraq, Syria, Russia backed. Who is the real Russian agent here? Hashtag Obama KGB. Maybe. I mean, you hear the stuff I said yesterday on Iran, right? That's all from the Obama administration. And everybody's running around. Donald Trump's an agent with Russia. Meanwhile, Obama's doing all this stuff. And now it came out. He coup d'etat. He was part of the coup d'etat that overthrew the Ukrainian president in 2014 to help Putin. So that's what it says here. That's what it says here. Obama conquered and took over Ukraine. I mean, I'm not, we're gonna circle the wagons on this. I'm not saying this is, this is totally. I mean, this is. I'll tell you this much. This guy from Zero Hedge, Turner Durden. He runs a high-level website. I'll tell you that right now. It's not fake news here. This ain't fake news. I'll tell you that much. Whether it's statistically significant, we'll find out. I just find this really interesting. It's my first time reading the article, I want you to know. That map shows the map that we showed earlier. This is this map, just to give you an idea. You know, just to give you all an idea, right? This map. This is from the. The name of the article is "The Oil Gas War Over Syria." Taylor Durden, Zero Hedge Fund, high level, high, right? Top notch. The map shows the competing Shia, Russian-backed, and Sunni U.S.-backed gas pipelines into Europe. So now we're getting a sense of what's really like going on with this terrorism and this. I mean, it certainly gives us a context, right? The war against the Assad regime is not a pipeline war, according to this guy Porter. He pointed out some errors, and okay. But the pipeline theory is based on false history and represents a distraction from the real problem of U.S. policy in the Middle East and U.S. war states' determination to hold on to its military posture in the region. Porter ignored the key question there as to why the U.S. war state has a determination to hold on to its military posture in the region. Opening and protecting potential oil, gas, pipeline routes are important reasons why. Clearly, this goes back to Robert Kennedy. Clearly, Kennedy's documentation that the CIA was trying to, as early as 1949, to overthrow Syria's secular government so as to allow the Saudis a means of cheaply transporting their oil through Syria into Europe, remains unaffected by any means of the objections that Porter raised in Kennedy's article. Now, I don't know. So it's just an interesting perspective, you know, and we'll see, because I'm gonna dig deeper with more stuff as we meet every day. Furthermore, any military strategist knows that the U.S. war state intimately connected to the U.S. oil and gas industries, including pipelines as well as marketing. And Porter got entirely wrong what that connection actually consists of. It consists of U.S. government taxpayer-funded killers for those U.S. international corporations. All right, so they're putting it on the corporations, as you know. So that's what they're claiming. Russia's aggression toward former Soviet states unnerves capitals in Europe, while China's economic rise and military worries its neighbors. He was saying that American military is in service to U.S.-based international corporations in their competition against those of Russia, Brazil, China, India, and anywhere else in which rising middle class compete with us. Okay, so this was an article on September 2016 by Gareth Porter, headline, "The war against the Assad regime is not a pipeline war." Okay, it's certainly a perspective, and we're going to look further into this. RFK Jr. Syria was correct, according to the author of this article, who is, this is by Taylor Durden. Wow. Submitted, it's I guess he created it. He published it in October of 16 and submitted by Eric Zuzin via Strategic Culture Foundation. Okay, interesting. A perspective. So we're going to look further into this. This is interesting, because we're trying to look deeper into this whole thing. Egypt turns to Iran for oil if the Saudi relationship deteriorates over Syria. So I'm going to hold on to this article. We're going to talk about this tomorrow. Here's one that I find interesting, because here's an interesting one. Iran signs 2 oil deals with Russia's Gazprom. I'll tell you what that is in a minute. I didn't read it. So just on the outside looking in, with all this data I put forth yesterday, today, who's the Russian agent? Who made the nuke deal with Iran? That's what I mean. I tell my people, everybody with a straight face is calling Donald Trump a Russian agent. And Obama made that all those deals and all that money and all those weapons and all those human assets, materially supporting the Islamic Republic of Iran. So who's the KBG? The FSB agent, I guess, the Federal Security Bureau agent. Who's the KGB agent? Obama, I think. Iran signs 2 oil deals. I mean, let's put it this way. I'm not unequivocally certain, but I think we're close. We're getting closer. Iran signs 2 oil deals with Russia's Gazprom. Iran signed preliminary agreements with Russia's Gazprom on Tuesday. Not this Tuesday, the end of last year, December, to develop 2 major oil fields in the latest of a flurry of deals with foreign firms. Now, there's no source there. So I'm just saying, that's why I'm not going crazy. But I got some other stuff that has sources. All right. The deals open the way for Gazprom to carry out studies in Chezmikash and Chengulu. I don't know if I pronounced it right. For the sake of discussion, fields near the border with Iraq, according to Shana news agency, which is linked to the oil ministry. That adds to the other oil fields that have already been earmarked for Russia's firm Lukoil, Tatneft, and Zarubas. Okay, so the latest deal was signed by Russian energy minister who is visiting Tehran with a 500-strong business delegation. Russia and Iran has had difficult relations in the past, but now find themselves close military allies in their support for Assad, and are keen to deepen their economic relationship. Interesting. So, with all this going on, right? Who's really, outside looking in? If I had to make a guess, I'm pointing Obama. Obviously, we're looking for statistical significance. Outside looking in, and I got my disclaimer, my Russo disclaimer. I didn't say it earlier, but I'm going to give it to you again. Russo disclaimer: outside looking in, court papers, judge's decision, peer-reviewed journal articles, and open source, well-researched open source articles. I don't sit on congressional oversight committees, International Atomic Energy Agency, Joint Chiefs of Staff, National Security Council. I don't have access to classified documents. So we're taking an outside look, and we're trying to look in. That's basically what we're doing here. And we're close over here. Here's another one. Iran-Russia review new oil arrangement. This is February 20. This is today. Amendments to a 2014 proposal to swap oil for goods calls for the purchase of 100,000 barrels of oil per day from Iran, Russia's government said yesterday, Monday. Iranian trade representatives raised the possibility of oil swaps and refinery construction during a visit to Moscow about a year or two ago. Russian energy minister said both sides were revisiting the deal with a focus on securing 100,000 barrels of oil from Iran under modified terms. Both sides are discussing those terms, and basically that's where they're at. So they're reviewing a new oil arrangement between Russia and Iran. Okay. That was just for the United Press International. Reuters. Russia says in talks over Iranian oil purchases. Russia has been in talks of buying oil from Iran, energy minister. At the sidelines of an economic forum in the Black Sea, the energy minister reports he expected the deal to be reached soon. The purchase will be carried out, and a trade with their trading unit of Russia's energy ministry. And they told Iran will begin selling 100,000 barrels of oil to Russia within the next 15 days and receive payment half in cash and half in goods and services. This is according to Reuters. Now, here's an interesting one. I don't have the agreement in my hand, but I think it's pretty interesting. And I'm going to close tonight with this, because I'm going to go watch Trump in 5 minutes. I think he goes on at 5, right? If I'm not mistaken. I want to go see DT. Yeah, in 5 minutes. We're going to close out. And I'll see you tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, and we'll go longer. I'll start at 8. But with tonight, with Trump going on, it's like everything got all discombobulated. But anyway, I'm going to close with this one. Putin signs historic $20 billion oil deal with Iran to bypass Western sanctions, a 5-year accord. Now, I don't have the agreement in my hand, so I'm going to try to get more articles on this stuff to see how much data we could compile. Okay? Putin. Everybody says Donald Trump with Putin, right? Donald Trump's with Putin. Russia's with Trump. Everybody's saying this. Who's saying it? Mainstream media. Mainstream media's been we've been fighting mainstream media since Trump went down the escalator, right? Fake news. They're fake. They faked the debates. They faked everything. Even the freaking election, they've tried to fake it. They tried to make it close. She got schlonged. So anyway, a 5-year accord will see Russia help Iran organize oil sales, but government denies it violated international obligations. Putin has agreed. I don't have the agreement, so I can't, I'm just going by, this is the Telegraph. They are pretty reputable. I'm not, I think they're an English media outlet. Putin has agreed to a $20 billion deal with Iran that will see Russia sidestep Western sanctions. Under the terms of the accord, Russia will help Iran organize oil sales as well as cooperate in the oil gas industry, construction of power plants, grids, supply of machinery, consumer goods, and agricultural products. So we talked about this was before the stuff we talked about with Russia and oil, the new arrangement. So and this statement was put out according to the Telegraph by Energy Ministry in Moscow. The Russian government issued a new statement, and they also stated that they will help Iran bring its oil to the market. So this is part of because the sanctions are going to be lifted. This was before the sanctions were lifted. And well, obviously Iran now is back in OPEC. So that his government will help Iran bring its oil to the market. In return, Iran wants power and pump equipment, steel products such as pipes, machinery for its leather and textile industries, wood, wheat, oilseeds, and meat. Iran is also interested in the joint construction of power generation and development of coal deposits. Further talks between the two countries have been taking place, and a deal could see Russia buying 100,000 barrels of oil a day. So the deal has changed a little bit, right? Because this was in August 14. The things that we spoke about are today and yesterday. So the deal has been modified a little bit, but by and large, this is where we're at. So to summarize everything, because I'm getting ready to go see DT, and I'm going to come back after the DT speech. We're moving forward. I believe what we're putting together here is statistically significant, that everybody, mainstream media, and everybody's calling out and saying that Donald Trump is with Russia, when in actuality, it's the Obama-Clinton crime family. It's hashtag Obama KGB, hashtag Hillary Clinton, Hillary KGB. I'm telling you, we're not there yet, but we're getting there, and we're getting close. This is the Frankie Russo pre-show. I'll be on around 10 on Scope after the Trump speech. I'll be on around 10 o'clock, and I'll have a live Scope, Frankie Russo 1 on Twitter, and I'll see you tomorrow night, 8 o'clock sharp. The reason why I ran late was because of the Trump thing. Frankie Russo, yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll see you in the future.